The second that Wyan walked into Hellfire's club, Sacred Domain, Eddie Munson knew this was going to be a fucking disaster. It wasn't just that Wyan was a cheerleader, though that was already a red flag. It was that they were the cheerleader. The one that everybody liked, the one that teachers adored and parents trusted and classmates practically worshipped the ground she worked on. They had that annoying ability to glide through high school without making any enemies, like some kind of untouchable angel. And now, they were sitting at his Dungeon and Dragon table. Eddie leaned back on his throne, a cheap, beat-up chair that squeaked if he moved too much, crossing his arms as Dustin, Mike, and Jeff all tried to explain that their new guest was here. They'd lost one of their players to a last-minute family trip, and somehow, some way, Dustin convinced Wyan to take their place for tonight. "I still don't get it," Wyan admitted, twirling a piece of hair around their finger. The uniform was pristine, white sneakers tucked under the table completely out of place amongst the heavy metal t-shirts and dice-strewn battlefields. "So, I, roll the dice, and I kill things?" Wyan asked. Dustin gasped. It's so much more than that. It's about strategy," Jeff added. "Oh, and teamwork," Mike chimed in. Eddie drummed his fingers against the table. "And not wasting our time if you don't take it seriously." His tone was sharper than it needed to be. But he couldn't help it. He'd spent years dealing with the cruelty of Hawkins' high elite, and he wasn't about to let this one prance in and turn Hellfire into some kind of stupid joke. Wyan blinked to him. "I do take it seriously," they said, and for a second Eddie swore they looked genuinely hurt. "I just don't know how to play yet." Gareth nudged Eddie under the table. "Dude, chill." Eddie huffed and grabbed his notebook, flipping to a blank page. "Fine. What kind of character do you want to be? A fighter, a rogue, a wizard?" Wyan tilted their head, thinking hard. What's the one with the magic? But like the healing magic? What one's that? Eddie stared. A Sultric? I think that's how you say it. "Yeah, I'll be that." Of course, they wanted to be that. The goody-goody of the group. How fitting. Eddie sighed dramatically, scribbling down their character sheet. "All right, little sunshine," he muttered. "Let's see if you can survive the campaign." To Eddie's growing frustration, Wyan was not, in fact, terrible. Sure, they needed help remembering stats and spells, and they asked too many questions, but once they actually got the hang of it, they were, dare he say, kind of good. And worse, they were fun. They didn't just go along with the game, they played. They gasped out in horror when the monster nearly took out Mike's wizard. They clapped when Jeff landed a critical hit. They even tried to talk their way out of a fight with bandits, using nothing but sheer annoyingly convincing optimism. "Maybe we don't need a fight," Wyan reasoned. "Maybe they just need a friend." Eddie groaned, but the table was eating it up, and when the bandits miraculously did let them pass, the entire group erupted in cheers. Even Eddie couldn't hide the slight smirk he had. By the time the session ended, the party had made it through the dungeon without losing a single player. Wyan had healed Mike twice, saved Jeff from a poisoned arrow, and somehow talked a goblin into giving them treasure instead of attacking them. Eddie sat back studying them. They were still in their cheer uniforms, smiling like some kind of storybook hero, but maybe they weren't as bad as he had originally thought. Maybe, just maybe, they weren't bad at all. Eddie Munson was about to lose his damn mind. But not because some epic D&D campaign twist or a bad guitar riff. No, this was worse now. Currently, Wyan Ellen was sitting in the passenger seat of his beat-up van, rambling about anything and everything that looked even slightly perfect. And Eddie was holding it together. But he wasn't really sure how he ended up driving them home after Hellfire. Well, technically he did. Dustin and the others had begged him to do it since Wyan's ride bailed, and still this was very dangerous territory. Because Eddie had a problem. A very, very big problem. He had a crush, a massive, stupidly embarrassing crush on the person he least expected. The cheerleader, the golden child, the Celtric who had somehow convinced the goblin to hand treasure over with nothing but charm and optimism. And now they were in his van chatting away about some pop song playing on the radio, completely oblivious to his internal crisis. I mean, it's catchy, right? Wyatt said, turning to him with wide, excited eyes. You can't tell me it's not. Eddie forced a smirk, gripping the steering wheel. It might save him from his feelings, he thought. Oh, absolutely. Bubblegum pop is exactly my jam. Right up there with the satanic ritual chants. Ryan laughed, and Eddie hated how much he loved that sound. Hey, don't knock it till you try it. He risked a glance at them. Big mistake. They were still in that damn cheerleading uniform, sneakers tucked under their seat, head tilted as they rambled on. He was pretty sure he was having a heart attack. This wasn't supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to like them. Ryan was everything Hawkins adored, and he was the town's resident freak. But God, they were making it really hard. Eddie? He snapped out of it. Huh? Ryan grinned. You were like totally spaced out. What are you thinking about? You, how stupidly perfect you are, and how much I want to ask you out, but you'll never know that, and you'll never say yes because it's, I'm me and you're you. He thought in his brain he would never dare to say those words out loud. Instead, he shrugged. Nothing important. Wyatt shifted for a second in their seat, studying him. Can I ask you something? They asked sweetly. Eddie braced himself. Yeah, sure. Their fingers tapped against their knee, a nervous habit, he realized. Would you want to, go out sometime? Eddie's brain short-circuited. He blinked. He was sure he had misheard. What? Ryan chewed their lip. No, like on a date. Silence. Pure, unfiltered silence. Eddie had spent the entire car drive convincing himself that they would never, ever, ever see him in that way. And now they were sitting there looking terrified of his response. He gripped the steering wheel, tightening. You serious? Ryan nodded, avoiding his eyes. I mean, no, I get it if you don't, want to. I know I'm probably, not your type, and you think I'm kind of annoying, and... what? Eddie slammed on the brakes, metaphorically, thankfully. You think you're not my type? He asked. Ryan hesitated. Well, I mean, yeah. Eddie let out a breathy, disbelieving laugh. Sweetheart, you're so my type it's actually painful. Ryan's head snapped up. Really? Eddie ran a hand through his curls, forcing himself not to look like a complete idiot. Yes. Really, I just didn't think I had a chance. You're you, and I'm, me. Ryan rolled their eyes. Yeah, you're the coolest guy I know. And yeah, I like you, so is that a yes? Eddie didn't even hesitate. Yeah, okay. The grin that spread across Ryan's face could have lit up the entire downtown. And just like that, Eddie Munson was completely done for. And he was about to lose his damn mind. Again.